Welcome back, everyone, and we're terribly sorry for the for the problems we've had throughout the earlier parts of this race, and hopefully we have dealt with those for the remaining of these two rounds, or this round, however you want to describe it. And we have Lars Bergman still leading and actually increasing his lead, which seems that he's just very comfortable in the car, but. What we're also seeing is Dino Paolini closing up on Sven de Vries in third place by quite a margin now. And he is going to be probably attempting to go for second place after his pole start.
Yeah, he's certainly getting closer. And, under a second, of course, so he'll be benefiting from the DRS, although I'm not sure how effective it is with these low wing setups. Also, Tulikas got past his speak whilst we were away, so he's actually moved up into fourth place. And he's also closing down on second and third position as well, so it's all starting to tighten up as we head towards the midpoint of this race.
Could this be the perfect, actually a perfect decision from Ray Tulikas to actually drive with a higher downforce package then? This seems to be working. There's also a very close battle for 14th between Lewis McGlade and Matt Strand, who's side by side into the final chicane as Lewis McGlade slides on the entry. And it seems like Matt Strand has got it through the chicane. That's an unusual move to actually make stick on the outside of the chicane. So,
Yep.
Yes. That is definitely that's definitely one of the better moves this race so far by Matt Strand.
Yeah, certainly considering he started a bit further back as well. He's showed his race pace now, and he's looking very good to pick up a couple of points here at least, and put himself in contention for a reverse grid pole as well.
But I wouldn't count Lewis McGlade out of that contention yet either, since he is going to be trying to overtake him into Lacombe. He is in the drought, but I don't... yeah, he's a bit too far back now. Seems like he's lacking top speed.
Yeah, he didn't really try there, whether he thought that it wasn't worth it, because he felt that Strand was perhaps faster than him around the rest of the track, and he just wants to look after his tyres, I don't know, but certainly didn't make a move there. As you see, also Ruiz has made his way back up after having that incident with Menno Clods. He's actually ahead of Clods at the moment in 10th position. Of course, whilst we're away, Tobias Politek's retired with what was effectively a disconnect after such a strong showing. He was in 9th position at the time.
Yes, another one that, of the issues that we've had through our break was Eric Strand retiring. He just crashed on the exit of Lacombe and unluckily lost his rear wheel. As we have Edgar Ruiz and apparently Menoclant coming up to another battle. Ruiz actually made a mistake, so we're just going to have to wait and see if Menoclant actually closes up from here on, but he is definitely very close now coming into the final chicane. Now, can Menoclant overtake Ruiz into the top 10 spot? That would be quite a good recovery after that incident.
Yeah, of course, that would give him the last position in the potential reverse grid pole positions from 6th to 10th position, of course. But it is a randomly generated reverse grid from 6th to 10th place, and which makes it quite interesting and makes it so that you cannot plan for it, and it's mostly just a luck-based, well, privilege, you could say, to be in front of the grid. Yeah, certainly is. We've actually seen a couple more guys pit now. So Lewis McGlade and Argenis Riera have pitted out of 15th and 16th positions. So we'll see. I think a lot of drivers started to pit now.
What's also very interesting is that through the last split, the difference between the second and third place was only 0.2 of a second, or 0.3 of a second, sorry. So it seems like Dino Paolini is actually catching up every time they're on through the first sector, and then through the second sector he just seems to be losing out a bit more in the slipstream.
Yeah, but of course you'll be having the DRS and then probably struggling with dirty air through the more complex second sector.
With that said, he is actually very close still, 0.6 of a second for the last timing beam. And he is now probably going to be trying to just keep as close as he can and possibly overtake him after Eau Rouge, or maybe even sooner than that if he can. As Sven de Vries just slide a bit. Oh no! Dino Paolini actually into the pits, and he is going to attempt the undercut, the infamous undercut. As Tulikas goes into pits as well, which kind of makes it interesting considering he has higher downforce and shouldn't be using his tires nearly as much, considering he shouldn't be sliding as much.
Yeah, but of course, maybe he's thinking more about that in the second stint. Now we're going to see if these guys can basically pit probably a lap before De Vries does, and try and get the undercut done and get out. And look at that, Tulikas is actually going to be Paolini out the pits.
As Menakant also was in pits, by the way, and David Franchic also in pits, as is Boria Milan.
Yeah, Goroweave, Matt Strand, everyone's started to pit now. It's all getting busy down in pit lane.
So it very much appears that Raid he is on point for possibly even a top 3 finish at this rate. This is quite a great race so far.
That was just a really good effort by Tulikas. I think he was quite active on entry to the pit lane and made a bit of time up there, and then maybe just had a slightly shorter start, but there wasn't much in it, and that's given him the position.
Yes, there is of course always that bit of a randomness. As he is sliding through that corner, very long right-hander, which I can never remember the name of. And he is seemingly sliding a lot. It could be that he's just on... that the tires just don't have the grip yet, considering they are very cold.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, sorry, I think he's probably just taken maybe a little, well, too little speed into that corner. That's why he clipped the curb there and really lit the tyres up, tried to get off it.
Looking through the battles, there seems to be one that there could possibly be, but it's 12 and 13 for James Early and Borja Milan. Do you think? I think it's just because Bora is actually on his fresher tires and James hasn't pitted yet, but still a battle on track nonetheless.
Yeah, but back to the pit lane. De Vries pits now. He speaks in behind him, but Brugman still stays out. He had a 3-second lead, so a bit of a gap, but he's certainly not coming to the pits yet, as his brother Niels Brugman pits also.
As Scott Beresford takes second place now.
Yeah, he's been quiet during this race, but at the moment that's not looking too shabby. He's staying out longer and seeing if he can try and make that work. Now this is going to be interesting because Tulikas is coming around the first corner as Sven de Vries just leaves the pit lane and gets ahead of Dennis Jordan. I don't think Dennis Jordan has pitted yet. No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't, but he is now going to have the speed and the warmth in the tires. But no, he didn't. He could possibly still attempt to overtake him into Lecombe. This is this is going to be very interesting. Especially on the braking, considering everything is so very cold for Sven at the moment. But the fresh tires, I think, do have a bit of an advantage now.
Yeah, this basically puts another driver between Sven de Vries and his nearest rival now, who is Ray Tulikas, after he got past Paolini. So that's certainly going to help out De Vries a bit more.
James Early also in pits, and he's coming out right now, in fact. So Lars Brugman, one of the...
I think
Oh,
you're back.
Oh.
Hello?
Oh, did something happen?
Yeah, we lost you. We lost you for a second there.
Oh, sorry. It must have been just a quick connection hiccup. But as I was trying to say that Lars just everyone's.
Oh, so basically, Lars Brugman is now into the pit. So here we go. Our leader is taken to the pit lane.
He's going.
Yeah, Brugman's in. Scott Beresford stays out. So Beresford will now lead a lap of this race because he'll certainly get past Lars Brugman. And we'll see where Sven de Vries is. He's coming onto the pit straight now as Brugman leaves his pit box and heads towards the end of pit lane. There we go, Brugman exits the pits, keeps to the right hand side of the white line. And you can see right there, he's still maintained that gap to Sven de Vries. So looking rather comfortable right now for Lars Brugman, but we've still got a good 40% of the race remaining. So still a long way to go, and anything could certainly happen. Of course, Scott Beresford having to pit is one thing that's definitely going to happen. So we'll see what happens where he comes out once he makes his one and only pit stop of the day. Looking back though, Rick Tulik is starting to come under pressure from Dino Paolini for 4th position, what effectively will become the final podium position. So Paolini, after losing that position in the pits, is certainly going to be hungry to try and get it back again, considering how close he was getting to Sven de Vries beforehand as well. And Paolini's actually dropped back a little bit during this middle section. It's really hard to stay on the guy behind, and he's certainly lost a little bit there. It was strung out between 3rd, 4th and 5th, 2 seconds behind us. I've lost my commentator, my joint commentator at the moment, but I'm sure he will return in a second. So it's about 2 seconds between De Vries and Tulikas, and a further second back to Paolini. So it's certainly not over in this potential battle, which will effectively become 2nd position, because I think Paolini and Tulikas will be looking to try and catch De Vries once again. So De Vries is 3 seconds behind Lars Brugman as well, as Scott Beresford takes to the pit lane. So Beresford, who was our leader for a lap, will now pit to make his one stop of the day. And we'll see for the Enterprise driver where he can return to the track once this is all over. I'm thinking perhaps behind David Franchich and ahead of Ruud Heasterbeek. I haven't worked out the pit stop times here, so I might be slightly out a little bit. We'll see. Niels Brugman goes into turn 1 and Beresford comes round out of the pits, and he's actually ahead of Franchich, so it was a bit of a shorter pit time than I thought. So that's good for Beresford there. He's moved up into 6th position. He was I think he was running in 7th before the pit stop, so he's gained a position on someone. I think it's actually Heasterbeek that's dropped further back during that pit stop phase. Yes, it was. He was up in 5th and now all the way back to 8th, so lost quite a few positions. I'm not sure if he had damage or something. Right, I'll continue on, looking further through the field to see if there's any battles going on track after the pit stops have effectively shaken the field out now, and this is really where people are going to be there or thereabouts for the rest of the race. James Wilson in 11th has got Bohem Milan, who's tried to recover from that early race crash on lap 3 that involved himself and a couple of other drivers. He's tried to make his way back through the field. He's definitely on course for a top 10 until that, so he'll be trying to get close to the top 10, which of course Menoclon currently owns the 10th position, and that's really the guy that everyone needs to aim for, who are behind him. Yeah, go on then. So, Josh will now be joining us for a little bit as the musical chairs of the media team seems to move around today.
Yeah, I think we have had a couple of problems with Mr. Kacper Kolodziejczyk, our lead commentator, so I'm just going to fill in for a bit till he gets back with us. And he says he should be fine for now, and he's going to come back as soon as he gets back on server, but if there are any more problems, I'll just keep going anyway. But yeah, this battle between Tulikas and Paolini really starting to heat up now.
It certainly is, and they're both reeling in De Vries bit by bit as well. So I think Paolini's probably pushing Tulikas, and Tulikas is responding, and De Vries will have to try and respond himself, otherwise we could be seeing a 3-car battle for 2nd position, which would certainly be a juicy little battle.
I have returned and I hope it works now. I'm terribly sorry for what was happening.
I think we do have a Kacper back.
Yes, we do.
Thank goodness. Well, I can only say bits and bobs now.
Oh, yay.
If you put us out of me temporary job?
Yeah, I'm terribly sorry, but it just seems that my upload has taken a dive for the worst for a couple minutes. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but just my internet connection decided to mess up quite significantly. So, back in the race, I see barely anything in the game now.
There's a big battle going on between Chiligas and Paolini though, Kacper, which we're looking
There
at.
indeed is.
And
Battle
Sven de Vries not that far ahead.
There's a battle for third place, actually. Between Ray Tulkas and Dino Paolini, and they're not that far away from Sven van der Vries, so we're just back into the battle for third place. Of course, Dino was quite quick before the pit stops and just lost out that place to Ray during the pit stop period. But it seems like the battle is very tight now.
Yeah, it is looking pretty close between these three, De Vries, Paolini and Chiligas. Chiligas, of course, jumped Paolini in the pit lane, so he is ahead as it stands, and Dino will want to get straight back ahead again, but he's not really got much leeway at the moment to come down the Kemmel Straight, because he's not that far ahead. I think he will be within DRS range, though. You'll see that tiny little gap that he's got in the rear wing. That is the DRS, and he'll use that to close in.
Although, I'm not seeing any of them use it.
I think it's very difficult to see. You really have to look as the wing barely moves when DRS is activated.
Yeah.
But, certainly Paolini's getting much closer now. He's only 4 tenths away from Tulkas. As Tulkas goes, whoa, look at that. It really slides the back end out going into turn 10 there, and basically drifting around the corner.
Here's something as note as well. While we're looking at the rear wings of these cars, Right Tulkas is actually using the high downforce package, and Paolini behind the medium. That means he won't have as much grip in the corners, but he'll have an advantage when it comes to straight line speed. But Wright is holding him off with more drag in the straight line speed areas.
Yeah,
well, we have talked about it before, and again, what I found is that actually Wright is not losing much in terms of top speed at all to anyone else, and it just doesn't seem to make too much of a difference at the moment, to be honest, except that he was a lot faster through the last bit of the stint on his tires, so it seems like the tires were just a bit more fresh by the end.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be a case where in Canada it didn't quite work, as Paolini's really close up and Tulkas now and might have a look into the final chicane. Is he going to go to the inside? He looks to the inside, but I think it's more just let Tulkas know that he's there. Where in Canada, as I was saying, it didn't really work out the high downforce setting. I think here it's working much better because Tulkas is probably lowering his wings even though it's not visible. So really the difference between the high and the low is probably quite marginal, and that's just allowing Tulkas to keep up the straight line speed and be a little bit better through the corners as well.
That seems like to be very much the case with this car, and it seems to be working very well for Ray at the moment. And although Dino is catching up, but again, that DRS is probably what really helps him. Ah, yes, now he has closed the DRS. I don't think he did it last lap, but this lap he certainly did. And he's not nearly fast enough to overtake him. And to be honest, if there was a big difference in top speeds, he would have been able to overtake him very easily.
Yeah, it was. Just got up to the gearbox, so it was actually pretty close, but just couldn't quite find that final little bit extra. And I think he's going to have to basically set Tulkas up a couple of corners before to try and get that position.
I think we've seen you need so much confidence to actually overtake into the Lacombe corners, the sequence of corners. Really, you have to be side by side, or actually you have to be in the front, and more preferably on the inside, and brake later. So essentially, you have to do everything to overtake someone into that corner.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. We've probably seen a little bit less overtaking than I thought we would see today. And maybe that's just the case that the straight line speeds are so close together. So, yeah, so pretty much a case of stalemate throughout quite a bit of the field.
Indeed, that is definitely the case. And to be honest, I personally find that this track just seems to really like that style of racing. It's a very good track, but very often it's just so very difficult to overtake without others making quite significant mistakes. It's just because it's so fast flowing.
Yeah, where we've got some long straights, there's always a slow corner after it, like Lacombe. It's very much quite a long, definitely not a slow corner at least. It's quite a wide, long sweeping corner. It's a little bit like some of the corners in Hungary, which is also a difficult track to overtake on.
Yes, Hungary would be even more difficult considering it's so very tight. And if anything, I would have a little story from here where I actually did a race in another simulator one which has matchmaking inbuilt into it, of course, so people should know what it is by now. And I was racing a Formula Renault, but 2.0s, not 3.5s around here, and I managed to do a race where I started from, I think, 28th or 29th place, and finished in 3rd place during a 10-lap race. So it's possible to overtake, it's just you have to be so very confident, and you just have to be so much quicker than everyone else.
Basically, you just say that you are better than most of the drivers in your race then.
No, in that race, yes, indeed. And that
Fair
I
enough.
screwed up the qualifying, yes. Oh, that was very much the case. But yeah, indeed, it seems like you just have to have a lot more confidence in corners and in your car to be able to overtake through here. And even with DRS, as we're seeing, there's just not enough differential in speeds to be able to easily make a move on anyone.
Yeah, and I think the limiting factor in that is probably to do with the gearing setup. Everyone's kind of got the gear, so they're nearly maxed out by the end of the straight anyway. So everyone's hitting the gear, the rev limiter, as they hit the top speed of that their engine gearbox setup could possibly do, and that's really costing them.
As Ray Tullikus makes a bit of a mistake coming into the last chicane, but that doesn't really matter. It was a small one, and Dino Paolini kind of has a bit of a squarely exit anyway. So, yeah, this seems to be... at this point, it seems like Ray is nearly trying to go more for 2nd place than defending from Dino. At least at last source it looked like so.
He's getting close to De Vries. The gap between the two, De Vries and Tullikus, is down to 1.4 seconds, so he's not that far away from getting in the DRS zone. I'd actually be interested to see what Tullikus's DRS is like, considering he is running the higher downforce package.
I also was about to mention something, but it turns out to be a visual bug that Ray Tullikus's front left brake is glowing red, just red hot, but it seems like it's just that one wheel, while the rest of his wheels only go red hot in corners. So it's one of those bugs in R-Factor 2, which is just a bit of a silly one and can cause some bits of confusion. But at this point, actually, Dino Paolini is still keeping extremely close, 0.4 of a second for the last split.
Yeah, he is. I've actually just looked at that bug as well, and it appears on my screen also, so that's quite interesting to see, actually. It doesn't seem to appear for any other car, so...
unless it's a real problem that Ray Tullikus has, which I very much doubt. Oh, and now it disappeared, and now it's... Oh, no, sorry, I was looking at a different car that had similar paint job. Had the same.
Potentially, it could be an issue. Maybe he hasn't opened up his brakes enough. Of course, it's easy to do, especially if you run a qualifying setup and then go into this race without
possibly
sort of
makes a mistake.
Oh.
As he makes a mistake coming into the final chicane, he lacks confidence on that car's grip out of that corner as well. He very much spins out his rear tires and does a little bit of a burnout.
He does like to get the car sideways, doesn't he? But somehow he's managing to hold on to it every time he does.
I'm very surprised, since the open wheel cars are very much... They're not meant to be driven sideways in any way, shape, or form.
No.
So it's always a great skill to be able to maintain a car in a slight bit of a slide. As Dino Paolini is closing up, but he just does not have the top speed.
Yep, once again, you can just hear he's maxed out if you go on board with him. Don't think you guys at home are able to do it at the moment, but Paolini, yeah, he can see Tullikus, but he just cannot get to him. So they just show that Tullikus has really got this car set up well. And perhaps some of the drivers are looking at this and thinking, why didn't I go for the high downforce setup now?
Possibly the high downforce setup. He just has that completely lowest possible downforce setting as well. So
I won't be surprised.
It could be very much just a bit of a trick and a mind game more than anything. And of course, racing is all about playing on the opponent's mind more than anything else, since that's the best way to overtake a person, is for them to make a mistake.
Yeah, I was just looking at see if I could see what are the wing setting options in. I'm not sure what they are for Supercup, but I do remember actually seen him in the server on Monday, and I'm sure he was talking about wings around 14 or 15. So if anyone knows what that means, that might be the wings that he's running.
I'm not entirely sure if they have like a minimum and maximum or anything. I'm not too... Well, I've never really raced these cars, so I can't really say.
Yeah,
But
same. That's why
they look
it
very good.
could be 10's the minimum. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I seem to recall when I was testing some cars, and I'm not sure if it was this or something else. But Dino
Oh, he's gone
Paolini
wide.
goes on the inside of La Source as Ray Tulicus goes a bit wide, and now they're going to go side by side into Rouge. No, I don't think that's possible, are they? No. Dino does back off ever so slightly. But he's now losing speed because he had to back off a bit. And since that corner is so fast, losing a bit of speed means you're going to lose a lot until all the way to Lacombe.
Yeah, that was certainly Paolini's best chance to get past Tulicus, and now he just can't even get close to him down the straight. So really an opportunity missed by Paolini, but it looks as though Tulicus is definitely struggling under braking. That's where he's making all the mistakes now. I don't know if that's coming down to pressure or if he does have an issue with one of his brakes, perhaps.
You know what? Now that I'm looking at it, that brake seems that it's still working with the whole visual temperature thing. And all I'm seeing at the moment is that it does go a bit dimmer at times in corners. So it could either be just shadows, but it could also be that it is the real life temperature, the real temperature in that car, and that's why he's struggling on braking so much.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it is just getting too hot. Because perhaps that's why it's the only one that's glowing. It's maybe getting too hot and really struggling to cool down because he doesn't have the ducts open quite enough for the brakes, and not enough time in between corners to get the brake back to a decent working temperature.
What that means, of course, at this point is that you cannot slow down enough. You would have to brake less, which means he would have to slow down, which would mean he would lose his third place, so he doesn't want to do that either. And Dino Paolini is just waiting for that to happen. What I would be afraid of is that brake failing, but we only have 2 laps to go anyway.
Yeah, so he's basically got a few more heavy braking zones to try and get through, and look at that, wow, into the corner. He's really struggling. Paolini literally pushed him through the first turn there.
Or in fact, is this the last lap now? Or
Yes, it is actually. We are on the final lap.
Yes, third. Sorry. Yes, we are on our final lap as Lars Brugman is going very much for an easy win from the very start. He did not take it from pole, but he did go into La Source as the leader of the race. So, an easy enough race for Lars Brugman.
Yeah, really, ever since he got into the lead after first few turns, that's basically all we saw of Brugman here. Just drove yet another perfect race, really, and well, that's actually going to be 4 race wins in a row. It's an incredible feat, and well, I don't know what to say apart from this guy. If he doesn't win the championship, then I don't know what's happened, because he's drove an absolutely stellar race in a stellar season as well so far.
Our second place man is again coming in second, it looks like, in this race, and it seems like Sven is very quick, but just doesn't have the enough of consistency to actually be close to Lars in championship. Lars is on another level. As it appears at this point that Ray Tulicus has got that third place for himself, and even though with that mistake at La Source, it seems like that high wing paid off.
Yep, I see it comes
As Lars Brugman crosses the line for a race win. And Sven de Vries coming second, and yes, Ray Tulicus does come third, and that is our podium with Dino Paolini fourth from pole position. That's a bit of a disappointing race.
Absolutely, he'll be disappointed with that. Scott Beresford, though, picks up 5th place, and that's a really good effort by him, getting past Niels Brugman as well after those pit stops. So just a great solid drive by Scott Beresford. And then look at the street fighter boys of Frančić and Heasterbeek only in 7th and 8th, and still good points for them, but they should be doing better.
Indeed, but as you said, Scott Beresford, what a great race for Enterprise GP from him and Raid.
Yeah, over the last couple of rounds, they've really started to pick it up, and that's just going to help Enterprise more and more in their season. They're currently in 4th place going into this round, and that's only going to strengthen that 4th place. They could still catch Satellite, but it's going to take a bit of doing, considering Sven de Vries continues to pick up these 2nd positions as well.
Melaklant 10th place, a very, very good drive from a person to be so far back on the grid. That is very,
and of
very
course,
good.
He got caught up in that incident with Ruiz as well halfway through the race, didn't he? He got absolutely taken out into the final corner.
What I can tell you though is a disappointment for Ruud Hesterbeck. He's only 8th, coming from, what was it, like 4th or 5th on the starting grid?
Yeah, 4th on the grid, wasn't it? After he caused the carnage in the first start, and then initially got away much better in the 2nd start. But yeah, that seems like pretty much how his race went in Hungary as well. So certainly not the Heasterbeek that we remember from last year, and perhaps he's just taken a little bit of time to get used to these cars and this whole different ball game this year.
That definitely is it. And again, coming in mid-season is never an easy feat to, never easy to get back into. Even if the cars are very similar, it would always be difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And this has certainly been completely different from last year, and completely different from the way he dominated last year. But just looking through the results as well for other positions, Dennis Jordan did good because he started down in 14th. I think he had a grid drop actually and started a little bit further down than where he qualified, but ended up picking up 9th place, which is very good points for him and his team. And Menoclod, of course, has given himself a chance to get in reverse grid pole, but that will all come down to Lady Luck. And James Wilson maybe thought he could do a bit better after such a good performance in Hungary, but still a very good 11th place and more points for Kajala as well.
A bit disappointing from Borja Milan as well. He can be very quick at times, and he's just not here. Yeah, he's just not quick enough around here.
Yeah, of course, he was caught up in an incident as well, and it's still good points for ST Racing, but they're still languishing at the bottom of the championship, and really it's between them and Racing Team Schroten for who finishes last.
Yes, the infamous last spot, the one that no one wants.
They're pretty much
the
surely go down to Formula Challenge spot.
The manor spot, yes.
Yes.
Well, with that race complete, well, it didn't prove to be as exciting as some rounds, but it still provided some entertainment to say the very least. And definitely that little battle we've had with Ray Tulikas and Dino Paolini was one that was quite exciting.
Yeah, how Tulikas actually managed to hold on to it to the end was really quite impressive, considering something was going on there, whether it was his tyres or his brakes or whatever. But he certainly didn't have it at the end of the race, and I don't know actually what he said in that. Oh no, nothing. He's just complained about the DRS. So he said DRS was useless, but that pretty much saved him right there, because Paolini just couldn't find a way past him down the straights.
Indeed, and probably doesn't help. It definitely doesn't help that the downforce levels are so low, since DRS works on not on adding you horsepower. It works on stalling your rear wing, essentially causing you less drag. So that definitely doesn't help.
No, definitely not. And we have seen it being quite effective this season. I think it's worked pretty well in terms of it hasn't made overtaking completely easy. It's allowed guys to close up a battle a bit more, but around here it did appear to not really have much effect at all. But of course, this second race we could see a bit more close racing, because we're going to see at least 6 of the guys and potentially more swap around.
That is that definitely, yes. We're going to just have to wait and see how many indeed. But Sven de Vries will, Sven de Vries definitely will want to for that number to be as low as possible, to be able to get away as quickly as possible, and hopefully run away from Lars if he can do that, and hopefully regain a couple more points. But I don't think that's going to be very easy for Sven.
No, certainly not. And this has been the race, this race 2, that Lars Brugman's struggled to really be able to win this season. I think he's only picked up a win in race 2 3 times, and considering how many times he has actually won, that just kind of shows you what is a bit more difficult once the grid has switched around. So we'll see what's going to happen. But we go to a short warm-up session now, and the cars just drive around. I think after doing all that driving, I'd probably take a break right now and just cool off a little.
That would be my strategy for this kind of point. You've been driving, and you are in this rhythm, and you don't lose your rhythm within 5 minutes. You can, so it's best to just use it to cool off, maybe even walk around for a minute, because you do get your adrenaline rush through the racing, and it works for everybody essentially in a race like this, and that does kind of just having a bit of a walk even for a minute or just standing up, it can help quite a lot.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and we've actually got the reverse grid number.
It's 6, which means we have another Brugman on pole, which is very interesting. Niels Brugman is going to be our poleman for race 2 this time around. This is going to be. Will it be another Brugman winning this race? No, that would be interesting.
That would be interesting because Niels has yet to pick up a win this year. He's had plenty of podiums and a couple of second positions, but never quite managed to get to the top step. So today could potentially be the day. Of course, going to have some quicker guys behind him, and not too many more because the number was so low there. It's the lowest it could possibly have been. So we'll see if he can hold on to it, or if he's going to lose it pretty quickly once the likes of De Vries and Lars Brugman come storming through. So, as we go to warm up, we just see the cars move around this track. So we will have Niels Brugman on pole, and alongside him will be Scott Beresford in second position for race 2. And after that, of course, we've got Dino Paolini, our pole sitter from race 1, followed by the second Enterprise car of Ray Tulica. So it's looking good, at least to begin with, for Enterprise for the second race. They've got 2 cars in the top 4, which is always a good starting point at least. And then after that, Sven De Vries for Satellite, and then Lars Brugman, the man who just can't stay away from those top 2 steps of the podium, will be starting in 6th position, and that'll be interesting to see whether he could take yet another win today. It must be getting closer and closer to him being able to take this championship crown, and I certainly don't think this one's going to go down to the wire in Supercup this season, but even after the championship ends, the race is always still good in Supercup, and that's why we always like to come back week after week.
For sure. I mean, this is super. I mean, the racing here is absolutely stellar, to say the least, for the most part. And yeah, I mean, Lars, I think he has it in the bag. I mean, the only way, a real way for Lars to not be able to take this championship is literally to stop driving, and to not score points at the very least in any of the upcoming rounds, which I don't think is ever going to happen.
No, certainly not, considering he's scored points in every round this year. Believe me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anyone else has actually managed to do that.
Only in 5 rounds has he not finished on podium. I think that explains quite a lot as to his pace. And he has never finished outside of the top 10, let alone the points.
That's pretty scary, isn't it?
It is.
Someone can be that good.
It is, and the worst place he has scored since the second race in Canada is 2nd. He has literally won or been 2nd in every race since the 2nd round in Canada.
That's 10 races now if we include race 1 from today.
So if he can do this, this will be absolutely magnificent for him. But I honestly don't think it would be fair for anyone else to take the title at this point.
No, I think already we'd probably stop the season now and we'd just say Lars Brugman's the deserving champion if it
Of
was
course.
to stop right now.
Of course, that's if it was to stop right now. It will not. It still has quite a few rounds to go. It's just what we're saying. What we're saying is just what it appears to be right now. And again, for him, if he wins another race now, I think it's just. I think he just proved himself to that there's no way you're ever gonna win with him in these cars this season.
Yeah. And what amazed me even more is considering last season, Lars Brugman was, of course, in Formula Challenge, and he finished runner-up in Formula Challenge last year, behind Eric Strana, who won the championship by pretty much the same gap that he's got to De Vries right now, Brugman to De Vries. So it was another dominant title win, and it's amazing to see now that Lars Brugman is this dominant, as Strana's perhaps struggled a bit more this season, and I know it's not gone all his way because he's missed quite a few rounds as well, which certainly hasn't helped, but he's certainly not looked like the same guy that dominated Formula Challenge last year.
No, and Eric, I think it's just getting used to the car, maybe not, again, having issues, not racing in every race, has he? No, he has had a big break in the middle as well. And he has had a break over the last 2 rounds, or over the last 4 rounds. So, yeah, it's not the season for Eric. Although he did win a race this season, so it's not like as if he is slow.
And it was a good win as well. It was an absolutely fantastic race to watch in Canada, one of my races of the season, personally, from watching all the races that I have seen. So. And that was, of course, race 1. It wasn't all about switching the grid around and getting a bit lucky there either, so it was all on merit as well. So he has shown speed, but perhaps not as much as he would have liked.
So here, actually, something that would maybe interest you is that if Lars Brugman somehow manages to win this race as well, he will have over 50% of all of wins this season. He is on 50% at this very moment, and if he can manage it, it will be absolutely immense. I don't think I've seen a driver do over 50% of wins in a series in a very long time. Not at this level.
No, considering how close it is as well in terms of the racing and the qualifying, that's really quite a surprise to hear.
As we're off for the second race, for the formation lap for the second race, I'm just gonna quickly go through the starting grid for the second race as we're on our formation lap. And it's Niels Brugman followed by Scott Beresford, which is very good for him after the first race. Dino Paolini in third place, Ray Tulikas in fourth, fifth Sven de Vries, sixth Lars Brugman, and seventh David Francic, eighth is Ruud Hesterbeck, ninth is Dennis Jordan, 10th Menno Klant, 11th James Wilson, 12th Boyan Milan, 13th Edgar Ruiz, 14th Matt Strand, 15th Lewis McGlade, 16th Argenis Riera, 17th Jason Muscat, 18th Wopke Hostra, 19th Mark Fuller, 20th Adrian Holm, and 21st Tobian Polotzek. And we are missing a couple drivers from what I'm saying compared to the last race.
Yeah, it looks like most of the guys that retired, barring Holm and Plotzek, basically have elected not to return for this second race. That's a shame to see. We don't like to see that, so that's a few cars missing from this grid.
No, that is a shame for people like Eric Strand, for example. It would be nice to see him returning and hopefully, doing another race and hopefully, and possibly even getting some points again. And either way, this definitely looks interesting, since we have our top 6 is comprised of essentially just extremely quick drivers. And Niels Brugman is not a driver that's very slow. He's just not being as consistent. So it's very possible for him to take it if he can just keep the pace up at a very good level. And who knows, maybe he can even finish in front of his brother.
It will be interesting to see if his brother does get behind him, whether it will be all basically gloves up and just going at it, or whether they'll try and keep it nice and clean to pick up points for the team's championship as well.
I think there would be kind of a gentleman fight agreement, if anything, so they would still fight together, but they would end up just making sure that they're safe. As we make our way to the grid itself now, and people are taking their grid spots now.
I'm going to take a little punt on this one, and I'm actually going to say Paolini's going to take his first win of the season, even though he's lined up poorly on his grid spot again.
I'm hoping for Sven de Vries. So, with 5 laps on, and we have a false start by Scott Beresford. That is massive. He is definitely getting a massive penalty for that. That was not a clean start whatsoever. So our race leader technically Scott Beresford, but he has done a jump start out of this world, essentially.
He's done a Lewis McGlade.
Niels Brockman is leading the race technically now with.
I have to say, right? In all fairness, if you're going to jump the start, do it in style.
Yes, there was this one driver in in Australia where he got a 5-second penalty when the jump start gained him about 10 or 15. So.
Yeah, but the thing about this is it's drive-through penalty, so Scott Beresford will find himself going straight to the pits and probably to the back of the fields.
As we're seeing a bit of battling for, 9th place with Dennis Jordan and Hester Beck as well for 8th, but right behind him is Mena Compton and Borja Milan. They're definitely close together and going to be trying to overtake.
Yeah, it's all looking pretty close right now on this first lap. Paolini's had to defend from Sven de Vries as well as... Oh, look at that, Francorchamps goes round and he's off the track, unfortunately out of the way. Just completely lost it there at Puan.
That is such an easy corner to actually make a mistake though, so I'm not that surprised that someone made a mistake and went straight on. Thankfully he didn't take anyone else out with him, but that is definitely a bad luck for Frantic, who seemed to be quite high up in the standings up to that point.
Yeah, that's a real shame, and that's another difficulty for Street Fighter as they really try to keep the points rolling.
I'm really sorry, but Lars Brugman is going side by side with Freight through what was Blanchimont. Wow, that is an unusual sight in Formula Cards. As he goes through in bus stop, such a quick driver and so much grip. As they touch on the exit of that bus stop chicane. What a battle.
He's just about held on to it. Tulik is going to try around the outside, but I think Lars is going to be wise to this. And he just takes the perfect line there. Lars Brugman on the apex and gets the job done.
All it takes is just making sure that you're on a fast line, and of course there's a lot more rubber on the fast line and on the tight line. So Lars had it in a bag at this point, but now at this point Raid has a lot more speed going onto this fray. Can he actually overtake him into Lecombe? He is right behind him, but I think he just maxed out. Yes, he did. He just maxed out on his gear and just didn't have a chance. Oh my. If only that 6th gear was a bit longer. It could have been very interesting. Yes, yes, Raid is using high downforce, but he does seem to have a bit more top speed, which is kind of interesting. And it seems like it doesn't really matter, all things considered.
Yeah, it's certainly, hopefully we could get him in for an interview and maybe ask him about that after the race, I don't know, but interesting enough anyway. But that means that Lars Brugman is once again behind Sven de Vries, and I think the two of them will now begin their charge on the second lap of 15, so still quite a long distance. It's just a little bit longer than Formula Challenge was yesterday, both their races. There are still many laps for things to happen, and we'll see really when Scott Beresford, when is he going to take his penalty?
I think there's a 3-lap limit on taking drive-thrus, or I think with how quickly is he on a drive-thru or is he on a stop and go? Yeah, because if I recall correctly, if you jump the start by quite a lot, you will get a stop and go. But It has to. He does have to
Oh.
come after this lap.
Lewis McGlade is round at the final corner. He just
And it seems James Wilson is slow as well. So was that a mistake from both of them?
Yeah, basically Matt Stradden was holding them all up, and McGlade just clipped. McGlade clipped Stradden, and then Wilson clipped McGlade, and that was enough to send him round. And it was all quite unfortunate, really. Just a bit of a stack up there.
But now for 12th place. For 12th place, Muscat is going to be trying to overtake James Wilson on the outside, possibly going to the into Lecombe. So what? All of those mistakes end up in a battle because James Wilson didn't have the speed. But now he has the inside line. Although he breaks a bit earlier, he manages to carry it. Oh my God! This is very much a tight battle. Wow.
As an aside, can I just say how good looking that Multiforce car is?
The which car again? Sorry?
The Multiforce, it's an absolute beauty.
Oh yes, the Multiforce is an absolutely beautiful car. It looks like a real thing, like as if you were to pull out a real life race car and put into a game. It just looks fantastic. Very well designed.
Yeah, it certainly looks like something you'd see in something like GP2, or I suppose some of these cars based on Formula Renault 3.5.
Or as it's called, the Formula V8 nowadays, yeah.
Whatever it's called anymore, I don't know.
Yeah. So Scott Beresford has to come into pits this lap. Otherwise he's going to get disqualified. I would think.
I can see why he's done this. He's probably tried to do it so he loses as little positions as possible, but I still think he's going to be nearly at the back.
He's into the pits now for his penalty.
It really depends on if he has to stop or if he could go straight through.
You know what? It looks like our predictions of Sven de Vries and Dino Paolini aren't too far off, considering they're second and third at this very moment. Oh, it's just a drive-through for Scott Beresford, so not as bad as I thought it could have been.
Yeah, there we go. So only loses out to 10th place, so that's not bad for Beresford, and he can catch up with the guys ahead. He's about 8 seconds off the lead. I think there's been a huge crash. Oh my God, Lars Brookman! Lars Brookman is involved.
Lars Brookman, this is the first retirement of Lars Brookman this entire season. This is
and he's
drama.
the beak as well. Oh! Yeah, Brugman, I don't know what happened, he just lost it on the entry to Eau Rouge and then hit the left-hand wall, spun across the track, and Heespeak had nowhere to go.
Yeah,
and
so that's rude Heespeak and Lars Brugman out of the race as well, so all of a sudden...
At this point, this must be the first mistake Lars Brookman made in the entire season that costed him the entire race. This is well, game-changing, nearly.
This is unprecedented.
Well, it wouldn't be... Well, it's not game-changing considering Sven de Vries would have to win this and then win another 4 like this to take the lead, but that is definitely going to be very good for Sven de Vries, who can very much close up by up to 25 points.
Yeah, I just can't believe I've witnessed that. It looked like it was weird. Brugman, I think, just got a bit wide, going through the right-hander of Eau Rouge, and just completely missed the line, and that was it. That was enough to send him spinning out. But that has now promoted Menno Clonted to 5th place, who started in 10th, remember, and Dennis Jordan 6th as well, so looking good. And of course, Scott Beresford, after that penalty, he's now in 8th after being promoted to a couple more positions, so also not looking too bad for him either. Milan
is doing very well for himself. He did not have a very good first race, and now he's 7th.
Dennis Jordan is looking close on Menno Clonted, yeah, but just to bring someone up, I mentioned this in Formula Challenge. Spa is an incredibly demanding and tricky circuit. It is ruthless if you make a single mistake. Lars and Ruud have shown that just there.
Yes, it's just a small mistake. Again, this track requires so much patience, so much concentration, such a good setup. It literally requires everything out of a driver and a bit more. It's one of those tracks where you just have to be on it in every single aspect to be able to do well.
Yeah, and while it can catch out the best of people at the worst times.
Edgar Ruiz actually spinning out after contact, and he lost the front wing. Who was he in contact with? Oh, Jason Muscat was where the contact came from. So we do have a battle for ninth now between Strand and Wilson. So this could be another interesting one. But yes, that's definitely an unlucky event for Edgar Reef, who is now losing places left and right.
Yeah, he nearly got away with it, but then he tried to accelerate the car and just stuck it at the tyre barrier after putting his foot on the gas. So, yeah, that's probably his race over.
Matt Strand makes a mistake, and James Wilson really right on the back of him, and will be right on the back of him going through Blanchimont.
Yeah,
this could provide very interesting racing side by side again through there.
It'd be interesting to see what Wilson could do. He's going to have to either go right or left.
Oh, what a speed differential on the outside of the bus stop. Can he do it? He has to brake so much later. He does brake so much later. Can he close in? Yes, he can. He keeps the position. This is one of the best moves this entire race, or this entire Spa round, really. That was one of those two moves we've seen so far of going outside the bus stop, which works somehow.
Yeah, perfectly clean and just well executed there, and both drivers gave each other enough room as well, and that's Wilson deservedly up into 9th place, and he's about 3 seconds back from Scott Beresford. Oh, Matt Strand getting a bit loose there, Rio Rouge, but hasn't lost any time because of it, and now he's going to try and fight back.
He is going to try and go on the outside of Camel Straight, and can he do it into into Lacombe? Yes, he can, and we're back into the same point we were at earlier. So now James Wilson just has to do it all over again.
Yeah, and he's actually trying already to turn 10. He's
what
gone for a bit of a
bomb.
dive bomb there. He's going to run wide, but actually manages to...
There's
he's
contact.
closed the door and his contact is Strand. How did he save that?
As Adrian Holm is just waiting behind him for all of that to happen, and now he's going to try and overtake Matt Strand into Pouan. Can he do it? This would be a disaster for Matt Strand, and it is. Matt Strand goes squarely again. Us behind him. Wopke Hostra. Wow.
It's all going wrong for Matt Strand all of a sudden.
This has been absolutely the worst
Hoekstra
moment.
was actually at the back of the grid only about 3 laps ago, so he's suddenly really flown through the field and already up into 11th place and continuing his charge, but Strand is certainly
there's battle
struggling.
for second place between Paolini and Sven de Vries as de Vries tries on the outside. And he does it into the chicane. Oh my god, that was the greatest moment to change to them. Wow. What a move again. As Paolini is going to try into Lasurs, but no, he thinks better of it. What a move.
He certainly tried right there, but that's de Vries then up into 2nd place. And knowing that Lars Brugman is out, he's now chasing down Niels Brugman to try and capitalise on this and get as many points as he possibly can, and he's certainly there. He's already within a second of Niels Brugman, so he will get DRS, but of course Paolini is still there as well, and he's picking up a slipstream on de Vries.
You know what? My prediction doesn't look so out of the blue now, Sven de Vries. Sven de Vries does look like possible winner for this race if he can overtake Niels Brugman. Although Niels Brugman is doing very well on the front of the pack.
Yeah,
it really.
I'd say you probably killed my prediction. I think mine's gone.
Yay. Behind, from what I'm seeing, as well, just quickly looking at it, is that Jason Muscat is now trying to overtake Matt Strand, so really not great moments for Matt Strand at all. For
Oh, there's
12th
another
place.
crash. McGlade has just gone off.
Oh no. McGlade, he thankfully has all of his bits together, but Riera has retired. I think Riera could have just been a straight disconnect, but not entirely sure. Oh no.
I think Riera also had a spin as well. Coming through
And he
lane
just
2.
gave up.
Yeah. Oh, he's lost his front wing.
Oh, man. Yeah.
This one, they're back in the points.
By the way, Menaclant also was very slow, and he lost. Did he lose places to Scott Beresford?
Yeah, he lost 3
Wopke
positions.
Hoekstra. Watch Wopke Hoekstra now, but he's going for P10 on home.
Yes, for 10th place, Adrian Holm is barely keeping up, keeping in front of Wopke Hoekstra, but Wopke Hoekstra is going to try the infamous move into the chicane again. But he can't do it, he just can't brake late enough.
Oh, but Holmes got a bit too deep.
Oh, this cutback is... The cutback is real. No, it isn't. Remember, this is the DRS zone as well. He's got it.
Oh,
wow.
Holmes goes so
Brilliant
wide there,
move.
gives him probably about 4 car widths of room.
Yeah, you could park a bus in there.
That's it.
As behind them, there was a bit of a battle between Matt Strand and Jason Muscat as well. They're going to the same corner. They're very close as well, and I think Muscat is going to be attempting to overtake overtakes Matt Strand now into Lacombe again on the outside.
Yeah, here we go. So Matt Strand's got to stay to the inside. He's been good on the brakes into Lacombe, but look at that, Muscat just pinches Strand and doesn't let him get too much room, but just enough fairly, and that's a great,
That was
really
a perfectly executed
by
move.
Muscat. Yeah.
Perfectly executed. They broke at about the same time, but it seems like Muscat just had that bit more confidence and was able to, on the outside, overtake him into that corner. What a brilliant move.
Absolutely.
As Niels Brookman is actually kind of increasing his lead a little bit, from what it looks like.
I think De Vries has struggled to really shake off Paolini, and perhaps he's been thinking about that a little bit more. The gap's opened up a little bit now, so now De Vries is only 6/10 of a second behind Niels Brookman, and he'll be benefiting from whatever effects the DRS has around this track. And,
Which is not as big as you would expect, but it is still there, nonetheless.
Yeah, I think it's better there than it isn't, but it's certainly not going to give you an easy pass.
So here's the
De Vries
here's
will be
the
looking
first
for.
DRS zone, and the start-finish straight, if I recall correctly. And that would be very much correct, as he had his DRS closed. And now he's going to be attempting to close up to him through Eau Rouge and hopefully overtaking him into Lacombe if he can, but I think he's a bit too far.
Yeah, I think he has got to find a bit more time. He's actually dropped a couple of attempts, but the DRS will be open up.
Oh wow,
close.
there's a side-by-side battle between James Wilson and Wopke Hoster going to Eau Rouge. 9th place. They are definitely battling. Yes, but wow. That is a good idea to actually let go a bit into Eau Rouge, because going side-by-side for Eau Rouge is never a good idea. No matter what you think, it is never a good idea.
No, it's certainly not going to end well for either driver, so he's just going to have to be patient and wait behind James Wilson a little bit more, but Hoekster has really been on quite a charge. He's actually been faster than the leaders. That's how quick he's been going. Time is definitely not on his side, and he's going to really find it more and more difficult to get past the cars as he moves up the field.
Indeed, of course, because of the pace differential being so much less. And but by now, now that I'm seeing it, we only have 16 runners left, so only one person at this point would not get points. Which
that would be Mark Fuller, who's still looking for his first point of the season.
He's definitely hoping for retirement from any other driver.
Absolutely, he's already up on course for his best result. His best result this year has been a 17th, so now...
I'm sorry, but Niels Brookman has Sven De Vries all over the back of himself into the chicane as he's gone wide. And can Sven De Vries do it into La Source on the outside? I don't think so. But never hurts to try.
He's got a chance. He can at least get a switchback and set himself up. Oh no, he's going to try and get around the outside of Brookman.
He is going to be trying to keep as close to the back of him through Eau Rouge as he can, but it seems like Brookman just has a bit more of an acceleration.
Yeah, he's got better acceleration, but
as Sven De Vries just goes a bit better through there.
Yeah, Niels just missed the exit.
This must be it. This is the one chance he has. On the outside of Lacombe, can he do it like we've seen before? I don't think he has enough of an overlap. They break at the exact same time, and no, he can't. He just couldn't, but they're still so very close.
And of course, Paolini's been reeled back in as both drivers are losing time now, and that's allowed Paolini to catch up. Tulikas isn't too far behind either, so this is getting very juicy very quickly.
As I was about to actually say that at this rate we're going to have Tulikas joining them in no time.
And we certainly know what he can do when he gets behind another car.
So from a two-way battle for the lead, we have now a three-way battle for the lead once more. Now this is quite exciting to say the very least.
Absolutely, and it just strings out a little bit here through the middle part of the track, but that's really because everyone's tried to follow each other through the dirty air, but I'm sure De Vries will be looking for a good exit here through these next couple of corners, because it's full throttle there on out until the final chicane. I think there's been some movement further down. Oh, Hoekstra's gone off. He's
Hostra. No.
got off at Puan.
No. That is not what we want to see after such a great drive thus far, and he's now behind Matt Strand, who's been falling down like a stone in the water.
Oh, Milan's out.
Bora Milan is out of the race. Oh no, what happened there?
A disconnect, it looks like.
Oh no. It is a big attrition race, and it appears like...
Fuller's going to get his first points of the season.
I was about to say that, yeah. That
Oh,
would be,
Fuller's going to score a point, and that's brilliant.
a single point.
Yeah, well, it's a start. It's the start of something beautiful.
It is.
It's
Well, he
better
still has
than
to
not.
finish.
I'd,
he still
I'd
has
be
to
happy
finish,
with a
so.
point in Supercup.
I'd be happy if I was to race there to probably get a top 10, but that's just because I always aim a bit high.
But right now, Sven de Vries is on the back of Niels Brugman again, going down to Lecum.
That
But,
is,
definitely not close enough this time around, and didn't even challenge him.
I think that could have possibly been the only chance for him to overtake Niels. That one time he was so very close, but never counted out. There's still quite a few laps to go. I mean, 4 laps. Is it 4 laps or yeah, 4 laps to go? I think.
Yeah, I think it's 4 laps. I'll agree with you on that one.
Yeah, our factor measurement of laps is always a bit is always a bit tricky to get your head around. But yeah, it's 10 laps completed with 4 more to go, I think. Or now I'm confusing myself.
They basically show the amount of laps completed rather than what the lap you're on.
Oh, Tulikas has caught up to the train of pain in the front. Oh dear.
Now, the interesting thing here is, of course, we have to remember that Niels Brugman hasn't won a race yet this year, so is the pressure going to get to him in these final few laps?
It could possibly, but then again, he's probably there on talking to his brother at this very moment, and his brother is definitely making sure that he's not too stressed. I'm just checking if...
Oh,
oh.
De Vries made a mistake.
So, out of this 4, if Brugman, Paulini, or Tulikas wins, that's going to be their first win of the season. If De Vries wins, it's going to be his 6th. So, quite impressive. Actually, that's quite impressive for the amount of wins from De Vries.
Yeah, he's basically the only other driver that's really, I think, won more than once, isn't he?
It very much looks like it, yes. I'm just looking at the standings at the moment, and yeah, he's the only driver to actually score more wins than 1, except for Lars. Paris fighting Jordan for 5th place on the outside of Lecombe, but no, there was just not enough overlap to even begin the move, and just decided better of it. It's going to be quite interesting for 5th place. This is quite high standings, still. The top 4 battle is non-stop, but the problem with that battle is, of course, that they're so very quick.
Francis is round again.
Oh no.
He's come into contact with Matt Strand going into Lecum, and I don't think he's quite far enough aside, so he's dropped down to 14th.
That indeed. Oh, what a shame for David Francis. It's not his race at all. Not even the smallest bit.
Yeah, the only reason he's probably still continuing is he knows he's going to get a couple of points out of it.
Yeah, it appears, unless the Mark Fuller can somehow overtake him, which at this point is not unlikely.
Yeah, if he keeps spinning.
Yeah, well, spinning or being helped spin. That's also a thing. Also, I think it's only 4 laps now, or 3.5 laps or something. I always get a mistake. Oh, I've just seen Niels Brugman in the grass for a second. I don't know why. Just a bit of a replay lag.
Yeah, he's certainly coming under pressure again, though, because Sven de Vries is caught back up once again. And he's within a couple of attempts of right at the gearbox going into turn 1. Can he get a good exit here? I think he has, actually.
It's so very close, yeah. We'll see, but last time he was even closer and that didn't work, but possibly a bit less of error. Oh no.
He went a bit wide through the second part of Eau Rouge though, and that's cost him a bit of time.
But I think he may be able to catch up ever so slightly, but he is already topping out on the gear, so he cannot close in anymore. Oh, those gearboxes are too short. Please give them a 7th gear, please.
Yeah, we really do need a bit more leeway in terms of the gears. I think you'd more than one series as well. As Beresford and Jordan went side by side into Lacoum, and Beresford had to bail out of it onto the the runoff a little bit there, and he's remained in 6th for the moment.
I really wonder if Tulicus is going to use this as a way to attack Paolini for 3rd place. That would be quite a feat to get 2 podiums in a row for Ray.
It's effectively what we saw last race, but in reverse, isn't it? This time Paolini's under pressure from Tulicus.
Although now Paolini got away a bit in... The funny thing is, in the high downforce section. So it seems like Tulicus is actually more set up for straights than Paolini is, which is quite bizarre, to be honest, with the choice of the rear of the downforce package overall.
He certainly deceived people with that package. I bet everyone kind of looked at him like a sitting duck going into this race, but it's certainly not been the case, and it's definitely worked out for him today. A good set of results, a good result so far, and he's on course for another good haul of points.
Oh dear, Beresford on the very back of Jordan as well. But so many battles at the same time. But yeah, Jordan I think has kept it in 5th place still.
Yeah, DeVries actually tried around the outside of Niels Brugman there, hoping he could take the inside for the second part of the chicane at the end of the lap. But he just couldn't quite hold it around the outside of the corner. It wasn't grippy enough for him, and he had to relinquish that place and just move back into 2nd position behind Niels Brugman.
But now he had another great run through Eau Rouge, and can he close up? But I don't think he's going to be able to actually overtake him now. Limiter already. Oh.
And this is the penultimate lap, of course, as well. So he's only got one more shot at this after the end of this lap.
That is the one downside of having such a long lap, is you only get so many chances into the best overtaking spots. And of course, like, as per many circuits, there are only a limited amount of spots to overtake.
Yeah, it's really down to Lacoum and the final chicane that we've seen mostly overtaken today. So,
and possibly La Source to a degree, but even at La Source it's very, very difficult if you ever manage that.
Yeah, Jordan's actually made a bit of a mistake going around the corner with no name. Beresford's right in his rear, but into Puan there's no chance.
Oh no.
It's all going to come down to this final lap, isn't it? We're going to be looking all over the place.
I think we need to nearly split our attentions between two different battles, because they're so far apart. So, as there's another battle going on that I see that they were separated during, and they're crossing the last timing being by 1,000th of a second between 8th place and 9th place. But I think they're further apart now. So.
Wow, that's yeah. Of course, Wilson caught sort of home there, but going into the final chicane for the penultimate time, and DeVries late on the brakes gets right up to the rear of Brugman.
He's going to be attempting to try into the, like... Oh dear, that is indeed what happens. Scott Beresford actually overtakes Dennis Jordan on the outside of the final chicane. Another one of those moves. It seems like that outside of that chicane seems to be working very well for most drivers. Yeah,
he's going to have to defend hard now though, because Jordan's got a chance to gain the position back up through the long straight into Lacoum, and that's what DeVries is looking at Brugman for right now as well. He's onto the back of Brugman, and this is really his probably second to last opportunity to overtake this track.
It is. It has to be. There's no way. No, he was way too far. The only way for him to overtake now is into the final chicane, I think, unless. Oh wow! Side by side between Scott Beresford and Dennis Jordan again. Jesus, they were literally interlocked with the wheels.
And Beresford took the inside line there and just smoothly entered the corner and kept the position well, and he'll be hoping to pull away a little bit now so he can at least defend for the rest of the lap.
Just look how close Sven de Vries is to Niels Brugman into Puan.
This is it. Niels Brugman can almost taste his victory, but he's just got to hold on into the chicane. I think that's the only place where De Vries can get him now, so he's got to try and gap him before then.
As I think Niels actually slightly is starting to slide with his rear, which doesn't help the matter. Oh, this is an exciting last lap if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to the exit out of this corner. Oh, look at that. Brugman ran a little bit wide, but he gets a good exit. And onto the straight before the chicane.
I think Sven's just going to have to concede it here. That looks a bit too far behind. I think his job should be defending second.
I think it is too far behind, but you never know. No, it's way too far behind. Unless Niels Brugman makes a catastrophic mistake into this corner. No, Niels Brugman is going to be...
Sven! He tried, but he's not worked!
Niels Brugman is our race winner for round 2 at Spa-Francorchamps with Sven de Vries second. Who knew Niels Brugman would win the race in this session?
Yeah.
Wow.
I did not see that one coming, but a great win for him and a great fifth for Scott Beresford as well, getting past Dennis Jordan over the in the penultimate lap there to pick up 5th place. Another 5th place for him. Imagine what it could have been if he didn't jump that start. It would have been so interesting to see.
Just, I don't know, would you say that this race was a lot more exciting than the first one? Because
absolutely.
I would.
Yes, definitely. And I think the overtaking was much better for the most part. I think
it was a lot cleaner. Yes. Yeah. I would agree that it was very much a cleaner race. A shorter race, but definitely not lacking in action. And our first race did have a few very slow points. So, phew. Well, that was quite an exciting couple of races, and the last race. And wow, 2 Brugman wins, except one Brugman retiree, which we didn't see coming. I don't think ever.
This has certainly been an unpredictable race, and another unpredictability is Mark Fuller comes around the final corner and he will pick up his first points of the season for ST Racing. So they get points on the board in this second race today. It's a solitary point, but another point in their fight against Racer Team Schroten. And Mark Fuller can now say he is a point scorer in Supercup this year.
A point is a point, and oh my god, he must be so happy with himself right now. Yeah.
It was Edgar Garith who granted him it, and he was his teammate.
Yeah, it was his teammate who gave him the point. This is actually very true. It's kind of a sad story.
It will be a bit bittersweet for him. I got a point, but he won't be happy because his teammate was in a better position.
Indeed, he would have gotten a better points for the team, but well, things happen, and he was there to pick up that 1 point that was remaining at the back of the grid, essentially. So, yeah, well done to.
I've just noticed something as well in Whoopke Hoekstra's. If we're going to be positive about Whoopke, yes, he made a bit of a hash of it, but he got the fastest lap of the race.
Oh, seriously?
So there's always that.
That is very impressive with this field. Well done to Whoopke, and if not for those mistakes, I would have said he would have been fighting for possibly even that 6th spot. Honestly. 6th, 5th spot even, with Scott Beresford and Dennis Jordan. It was very, very exciting.
Certainly a lot of what could have been, but for Niels Brugman though, it's what has happened, and he's taken the win here today, and that's his first win in the season, and he did it in some style as well. He didn't look too flustered at the end there, and defended in all the right positions against Sven de Vries. So hats off to him. A very good drive by him to pick up his first win of the season, and that's more points on the board for himself as well. And Sven de Vries will close up a little bit in the championship, but not quite as much as he hoped. And then of course Paolini gets his first ever 3rd position of the season, and it's actually been a very strong round for him overall. It's not been the win he's been looking for, but very solid. So great effort by him. And then the Enterprise boys in 4th and 5th place, coupled with their 3rd and 5th in race 1, is strong points for the Enterprise team, who are certainly looking to try and at least gain some ground on satellite racing ahead of them, and I would say maybe even Street Fighter to a sense, because they're not really picking up the points this season. They're struggling, our Street Fighter, a little bit at the moment, especially after losing Risto Capit for the rest of the season.
Indeed, and wow, I'm just looking at a few things, and looks like Sven de Vries has closed up from 124 points behind to 109 points behind.
The championship fight is back on.
Except not really. But from here on in, I think we will have at least a couple interviews with our race winner of the first race, and our second place man in both races. So let me just drag them in and let's see what they have to say. So hello Sven and hello Lars, and let's start with you, Lars, considering you have won the first race. And what that was a absolutely magnificent drive. But what happened there in the second race as well?
I was behind Sven going into Eau Rouge, and I thought, to overtake Sven, I had to go flat through Eau Rouge. So I was taking a risk, and then the rear stepped out. I overcorrected. I slammed into the wall. There was no saving it from that point.
Well, that was very unlucky, and of course, any attack in Eau Rouge is always a bit of a danger, and I would personally not advise it to it, but of course I'm not as fast as most drivers here. So anyway, yes, and any thoughts on the first race? Great start, by the way.
Yeah, the first race was pretty straightforward. I mean, this track is really difficult to overtake at, so I knew once I got the start, once I was leading after lap 1, I knew I had a good chance to take the win, and from then on I was just maintaining the gap and trying to not make any mistakes, which was the main thing the whole race.
Well done, and again, it was a very clean race, so it worked out in the end. And again, well done on the win, and unlucky on the second race. But now for second place man in both races, Sven de Vries. Wow, quite a nice performance, and what a battle in the second race.
It was quite interesting. I mean, race 1, like Lars said, the start was important. I had a chance, but Lars just got ahead of me, and after that, it was just doing qualifying laps, and Lars was just a little bit better of making 0 mistakes every lap, and I went a little bit wide here and there. No major mistakes, but they add up eventually, so all I could do was follow and not really attack. Almost lost the car in Eau Rouge behind him. So I knew when he was behind me in race 2, I was talking to Ruud on Skype, and Lars was about a tenth behind me going, and I was telling Ruud, better watch out, because I wouldn't be surprised if Lars was about to fly off in the wall. I'm sure he did, and then Ruud caught him too. So it's too bad for Lars, but for the championship, I guess it's good for me, but it's not the way I want to beat him. Other than that, I had a good battle. I managed to get P2 around the outside in the last turn. But Niels was just that little bit faster in a straight line, and the DRS didn't really do anything here. So I couldn't really do anything but follow. So in the end, finishing second both races is a good result. Obviously, I would have liked to win, but seeing how Lars didn't score the second race, I can only be pleased with the points that I got in the bag.
Yes, you have closed up the gap to, if my calculations are correct, 109 points. So the fight is on.
Got a little bit to go. I missed Monaco, so I lost some points there. I may miss another race during the season, but we'll see. I'm just going for fun races and battles. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, well done. And the battle you've provided in second race, what was it, going side by side through La Source or something? That was quite intriguing to see. But yeah, absolutely well done, and congrats on the second places. And honestly, if you have anything to add, both of you.
I suppose I want to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. It's great to have a live broadcast again. I'm sure people enjoy watching it, and us drivers have a great time watching the race back with your commentary after the race. So thank you for that.
Well, that's lovely to hear, and well, we have to thank Joshua Anderson for stepping in when we had a bit of technical troubles in the first race, unluckily. And as David Fidock did a magnificent job, but unluckily his internet connection had a bit of an issue. Anything you would have to add, Lars?
No, just I don't know. Thank you for the broadcast. It's always great to watch them back. And keep doing what you're doing, I guess.
Cool. Sam, Josh, I think we'll be closing in a second. So, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I'd just like to say it's great to be back here today after missing a few rounds now, and hopefully I didn't sound too bad, because this is definitely the worst my hay fever has been in a very long time. I'm quite glad to be able to rest my voice for a bit now. But now we're going into a bit of a break, aren't we? It's about a 5-week break until the next round of the season in
That was
Italy.
4 weeks, yes.
Yeah, maybe it's 4, maybe it's 5. It's much longer than usual. It's certainly not the fortnight that we usually get, but we'll be going into our final 6 rounds of the season. I can't believe we're getting down to that already, but I think this break will be good for some people and maybe allow some people to reflect on what they've done in the first about 2/3 of this season and prepare themselves for the final push. And I think that'll probably help with race numbers as well, as the summer months are always the hardest to drive in because it's so hot and you've got a lot of commitments like sitting
Indeed.
outside with a beer. So,
Yeah, indeed, yes.
a good little break, but it'll be great to get back into it once again in the near future.
It will definitely. Josh, any kind of closing thoughts on the race?
Yeah, it was a cracking race to watch. Obviously, there was a couple of problems, but ultimately we sorted them out in the end, and race 2 was good. So, yeah, it's been a good event, and I'll be around probably tomorrow for Super League, so we can look forward to that as well.
Well, I have to say it was quite a pleasure to work with you all. And on this note, we are hopefully going to have a broadcast in tomorrow for Super League, and hopefully we're going to see you there. And thank you all for watching, and hopefully see you next time.